I want to ask you about the rising tensions between Europe and the United States over the fate of Greenland. Could you clarify for us if Greenland, despite not being part of the European Union, could benefit from the mutual assistance clause that it's enshrined in the EU treaties in Article 42.7? And have you already begun examining the possibility of activating this article in the context of a possible US intervention to seize Greenland? Thank you.
Thanks, Jorge. I think our views on Greenland have been clarified at length both yesterday and, on Tuesday and on Monday here in the press room. Also, you have seen that the President has given a speech yesterday at during the launch of the Cypriot presidency and has made a reference to Greenland herself on this article specifically. I'm looking at my colleagues, but I understand we will need to check and we will eventually revert. At this stage. We don't have a specific comment. Jorge.
Yes, yesterday the French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said that France was working already on a plan to protect Greenland against a possible US intervention. He said that he would like this plan to be part of a European dimension and, discuss with European partners. Do you support this French initiative to develop a plan, a European plan to protect Greenland? Are you in touch with Paris? And what would you like to have included in this plan? Thank you.
Again, if Anita wants to jump in, she's more than welcome to do so. What I can say at this stage is that we are in constant contact with our member states. Of course, this is a very important matter for our union. Greenland is something on which we have been working actively since many years, are developing our partnership with them, and this engagement continues. Also in these matters, we do speak with all member states, including France, but I don't think that at this stage we have specific comments on this announcement that we have seen in the press. Go ahead.
Thanks, Ariana. Jerome Hughes here. It's on the same subject, but it's perhaps a more general question. I mean, given the unprecedented low levels of cooperation, consultation, even threats from the US side to the EU on a whole range of key policy areas, is it not the case that EU-US relations have never been so poor? They're dire. They're barely on life support.
What I can say is that the US remains a strategic partner of our union, and with them, as with all other partners, we work actively in the areas where there are common interests, and we will continue to do so, of course, in the various topics where we share interests, as I was saying. Francesca, sorry, you have a follow-up.
Thanks for that. But you say in areas where you have common interests. I mean, when you look at the United States bypassing the EU in terms of trying to get a deal on Ukraine by going directly to Russia, you can't even say on trade because, we have the 15% baseline tariffs, even foreign policy in the Middle East. I'm sure the EU is unhappy that the United States is not putting more pressure on Israel to allow the humanitarian aid into Gaza. I mean, just the list goes on and on. So when you talk about the common areas of interest and what specifically, what areas are you talking about at this stage? Because when you look at trade, foreign policy, what examples can you give?
I would disagree with your reading on the various points you mentioned. On Ukraine, we share a common interest with the US, which is the one of reaching a just and lasting peace with Ukraine, and we work with our member states, with our Ukrainian partners, and with our US partners. In the sense, the coalition of the willing meeting of Tuesday testifies to this. The US was present and actively engaged. On the trade deal, Olaf can explain much better than I can, but it's a policy choice of the US towards its international partners. And here, once again, we are very convinced that we have obtained the best deal possible with an overall tariff and certainty for our companies. For the Middle East, we, of course, support a solution for Gaza and protection of the civilians, and we welcome the US engagement also in the sense. So in all these areas that you're mentioning, we do cooperate with our US partners. Do we have to agree on each and every step with our international partners? Of course not, but they remain strategic partners and we work with them constructively in all areas possible. A number of hands raised, also from remote. I'll continue here from the press room. Go ahead.
Hello, thank you. Thomas Mull-Nielsen at Euractiv. I have a question about a comment that Executive Vice President Teresa Rivera made today on social media, where she said that the White House doesn't care about environment, health, or suffering of people. Peace, justice, cooperation, or prosperity are not among its priorities. Is this the official view of the Commission? And also, have you got any comment on the U.S. decision to pull out of the Framework Convention on Climate Change announced yesterday? Thank you.
Look, we will not be commenting on a specific decision of the US administration. For what we can say is that from the European Union side and the Commission side, we continue to uphold our international commitments, and we will continue to play a leading role in the international fora in these aspects. I think on the UN climate agreement specifically you were referring to, Commissioner Hoekstra has made our views known already. I think it's Eva today that can perhaps refer to them if needed, but overall he has shared our position. We will, from our side, continue to support international climate research as the foundation of our understanding and work, and we will also continue to work on international climate cooperation. You have a follow-up.
Sorry, but I mean, does the Commission, do you agree with what Executive Vice President Rivera said about the White House not caring about the environment, the health, or the suffering of people? Do you agree or disagree? Thank you.
It's not for me to agree or disagree. It's not for me to speak on behalf of the US. What I can do is speak on behalf of the Commission and confirm our commitment to these international conventions. Go ahead.
Hello, thank you so much. Eleonora Vasquez from Euronews. I want to ask a very simple but complicated question. Why von der Leyen, of course, the Commission has the interest to deal with the US, consider it as a strategic partner right now? Is it because Europe has no choice, or because there are other reasons behind it? Thank you.
I'm not entirely sure I understand the question. I think it's evident that the US historically and at time is a strategic partner of the European Union. It has always been and it continues to be. As I said, it doesn't mean we have to see exactly the same way on all topics, but there are many, many areas where we share common visions and common interests, and on that we actively work. From geopolitics to economics, there are many areas in which we can cooperate and which we do cooperate. You have a follow-up? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to stress the why, considering that despite historically, of course, is a strategic ally, but this alliance is shrinking. And so my question is why the Commission wants to keep considering the US as a strategic partner right now.
I think the European Union has an interest in pushing forward the interests of its citizens and in cooperating with our international partners at large. This goes through various means. It can be through trade agreements. It can be through geopolitical relations. It's not something that applies to the US only. We have many strategic partners. I will not be naming them, but of course there are many partners with whom we cooperate outside our union. Just now, our president is traveling in Jordan, tomorrow Syria and Lebanon, because all these are partners with whom the European Union wants to cooperate. Of course, different partners trigger actions and talks on different topics depending on where we have common areas in which we can work. With the US, there are many areas with, where we have a common interest in working, and it is in those areas that we work with them. With other partners, there are other areas, and we will engage with them constructively in the same manner. Therefore, it's not something that is unique to the EU-US relationship. It is a general approach of our union of wanting to cooperate internationally, always keeping at heart of our actions and policy initiatives the interest of our citizens and of our union. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Philip Bedossulvin with the Norwegian media Energi og Klima. The current Arctic strategy of the EU dates from 2021 and is focused on 3 pillars, namely climate change and protecting the environment, promoting sustainable development, and strengthening international cooperation. In regards to the situation in Greenland, does the Commission view this Arctic strategy as still fit to purpose, and does it plan to update it, perhaps drawing inspiration from the Parliament's INI report that was adopted in November? Thank you.
Thanks a lot. On the Arctic strategy specifically, I will see if my colleagues have more to add. What this allows me to say and to remind is that the European Union and Greenland have been close partners for decades. As you were mentioning, we have the strategy in place since 2021. And let me also remind you that in 2024, we have opened a permanent office of the European Union in Nuuk. This office allows us to work directly with the Greenlandic Authority and society because it is on the ground and active, and as you can see from its opening since 2 years ago, the importance that the European Union gives to our partnership with Greenland goes a long way. We have always invested in this relationship. We of course continue to pay attention to this matter. On the Arctic strategy, I don't know if Anita wants to add anything specifically. You are indeed right that it focuses on cooperation in priority areas, such as the ones you were mentioning. Anita or Marcos, would you have more to add? I think it is a strategy in which we are investing. Marcos can give you a number of figures on investments that we have made in concrete projects with Greenland. Also, an important part of our future budget is earmarked for investments in those areas. If you want, Marcos can provide you with details of it, but it is a dynamic relationship, and it is in this context that we continue to cooperate with Greenland. Go ahead, you have a follow-up.
Yes. I'm specifically interested in knowing if it is the view of the Commission in any way that it needs to incorporate a larger focus on security, and the current Arctic strategy barely mentions the United States' role in the Arctic. And in view of recent developments, I'm wondering if the Commission thinks that this should be a stronger focus going forward.
Thanks. I can refer you to what the President has said herself when she has given a speech at the Nordic Council. I believe it was end of October, early November, if I'm not mistaken with the timeline. What she has said is Europe must be more proactive and more invested in the Arctic. That is why we are reviewing our Arctic policy to address new geopolitical threats. Therefore, this is the sense of our work towards which we are going, continuing to invest in this strategic relationship we have with our Nordic partners and, of course, with Greenland. Go ahead.
Good morning, Vincenzo Genovese from Euronews. Still a US-related question. The Venezuela Interior Minister claimed there were 100 people died, including civilians, in the US raid in Caracas. Does the European Union condemn these killings? Thank you very much.
Thanks. Let me see if there's other questions relating to Greenland before moving to Venezuela. I have a few hands raised from remote. Francesca. Francesca, you need to press on speak.
Yes. Is that okay?
Yeah, now, yeah.
Great, thank you. Good morning. So, a question on Italy. The Italian media are reporting about the infringement procedure that was opened.
Francesca, we're discussing Greenland and foreign affairs, so I think it goes in another direction.
No.
Yeah, we'll come back to you. Federica from remote, is it about Greenland? Federica, if it's about Greenland, it's your moment.
Yes,
Please.
I'm sorry. I'm activating the microphone. I'm there. Can you hear me?
So, but we will do our best.
Thank you, Arianna. I was just wondering if if the European Commission is actually in the process of updating the Arctic strategy. Did I understand that well? Thank you so much.
I was referring to a speech by the President from the end of October, I believe. She has given a sense of direction. Of course, we have an Arctic strategy in place since 2021. We are investing in implementing it. And of course, we are aware of changing circumstances. Like always with our policies, we do take into account evolving context, and this is valid for the strategy as well. The President has indicated a sense of direction of work, and this is where the Commission is working towards. Then I wouldn't have more concrete announcements to make at this stage, but she has already said a couple of months ago what was the intention of the Commission.